Everybody else I know is like either trying to buy a single family house or they're renting or like they don't have the money. I was like, dude, it like costs like, it was like 12 grand total, like buy this house.
Yeah.
He's like, what? I was like, yeah. And I get this call and it's like, hey, the building's on fire. What are you talking about, dude? The building's not on fire. Yeah. No, like there's 3 fire trucks at our building right now. And I'm like, you serious? I tell my investor clients and friends all the time, like, if you're gonna buy real estate properties, it's like this kind of like weird thing where it's like black hat, where it's like, oh, I wholesale, but like you go to their website, there's no address, no face, nothing. And I'm like, this is why realtors and people dislike us.
Welcome back to the Investor Unite podcast, where we talk all things real estate, business, and entrepreneurship.
On this episode, oh shit.
Yeah, you messed up already.
Dude, I already messed up.
All right,
so typically I would go on to, on this episode we have none, but yeah.
Okay. Welcome back to the Investor Unite podcast, where we talk all things real estate, business, and entrepreneurship.
If you are looking to ignite your real estate investing, then join us at Investors Unite. And on today's podcast, we have a giant of a human being. No, somebody who has been in the game for a while, really specializes in like the numbers, analytics, metrics of the business, keeping track of all that, and has built a phenomenal team. Big group of friends is what you guys seem to be. So I'm excited to dive into your story, kind of see what you're up to now, and maybe talk a little bit about golf, because I want to get into it. And you're semi-professional, we'll say?
No. Very amateur. Yeah. I'm a hacker. So, and thanks for having me. So,
of course, Josh Eberly, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Woo! Appreciate you coming on.
I love the clap.
There we go.
Thanks for having me.
What you doing here? What's going
on? Yeah, man. So, been doing real estate for, I want to say, since 2017. I think I bought like my first property.
Okay.
So I feel pretty old in the game. You guys.
It's not even.
Well, you were
7 years ago.
Yeah. Well, you might have been like in middle school or high school. So been kind of involved in the real estate game, quote unquote, for 7 years. Probably more serious last 3 or 4 years. So we're based out of Lancaster. I own 717 Home Buyers alongside of Austin Glanzer. I know you guys know.
Yep.
We have a team there. As you said, group of friends, pretty much. We hang out. Sometimes friends it's tough to, have KPIs and performance indicators, but
which we'll dive into.
Yeah. But it's a good time. We like to have a cool company culture and go from there.
That's awesome. And Lancaster's a great area. It's a very hot market.
So what got you into real estate? Like, how'd you learn about it and everything?
Yeah, it's a great story, great question. And it's kind of crazy. So I don't want to sound cliche because a lot of people do this, but I like to read books, and Rich Dad Poor Dad was a book I read. Mm-hmm. And so I think it was like 2016, I had a tech job out of school and did really well in that. And I ended up getting a different like kind of tech job back here in Lancaster County. And at the time, like I thought I had like a lot of money, quote unquote, because I was getting really paid, pretty paid well for my age. I was like 23, 24. Yeah. My wife had a great job. And so we were like going and looking at houses, like nice houses in the suburbs and ground pools, you know, for at the time, I think it was like, $350,000 house, which when you're 23 or 24, you think you're like,
that's a lot of money.
You're like, I'm rich. Like, I'm so rich. Yeah, I made it, man. I'm like, it's great. Yeah. So I was like, hey, like I got this money. Like, what the heck do I do with it? Mm-hmm. Right. And so I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and Robert Kiyosaki apparently convinced me to house hack.
Okay.
And so we went from like looking at properties in the suburbs of Lancaster, nice properties. And these properties are probably like $450, $500 now.
Yeah.
To like, I'm walking my wife through like the slums of multiple cities. We're talking like bad, like, like the oven doesn't really work. Like the dishwasher worked at one time.
She's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Like C minus C class, and luckily, my wife didn't divorce me because that would have been a great time to do it. We ended up saying, all right, we're going to house hack. We're going to do an FHA loan. I kind of did my research on that. Yeah. And ended up purchasing a 3-unit in Millersville, PA. So near the college.
Yeah, perfect area.
Great opportunity. Mm-hmm. And I remember it like yesterday. So my wife went down to Florida. She had like a family thing. She went down to Florida, and I like stayed backside of work or something. And I was like, hey, we should buy this property. Like, we should make an offer on this property.
Was it on the market then?
It was on the market back then. Okay. So to the audience, back in 20 whatever, you could buy properties on the market, right? So it was on the market. I was like, this is a perfect house hack, right?
Yeah.
Millersville, great area. Like, we would want to live there. So I looked at the property without my wife. And if you're married, please don't do that if you're going to ever buy a property. But so I look at the property without my wife, like, we need to make an offer.
Right.
Sent her like 6 pictures. I'm not a picture guy. And she was just like, okay. And we won. We got the bid. So
That's awesome.
Wow.
we ended up getting that property. And
Did you
that
come in at asking, below asking?
we were a little bit below asking,
Little below?
little negotiation, but probably overpaid for it at the time. Just didn't really understand it. But from my perspective, we were renting at the time, 2-bedroom, and it was in a decent area. It was like $1,200-$1,300.
Okay.
And I was like, I can literally put 3.5% down and live in this unit. Now, it's not as nice as my rental apartment.
Yeah.
I got to fix some things up, but I'm basically paying nothing to live there.
Right.
That's so nice.
And I was like, this is a cheat code.
Yeah.
It's a great cheat code. So that was our first property.
Very cool. Yeah. So did you just go through, you said FHA for that one, right? So you still had money left over after that, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
It's such a low down payment.
Yeah.
Were you immediately after that like, holy shit, like I love being a landlord, owning these properties, like I still have enough left over. I can do another one with a conventional loan. Did you kind of have that mindset where you just wanted to snowball that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we started living that property, and the mindset was like, hey, we want to start a family. We want to be starting that process in 2 years. So like we're going to buy our single family in 2 years. But anything that comes up before that, like let's just figure out what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And so I actually met Austin at church then.
Okay.
Austin's wife was the child's ministry director. And I think Austin was like, he was like 21 at the time or something. I don't know. Somehow he legally got married young. I don't know how it happened. But anyway, we'll get into that. So Austin shows up at church, and they're like, hey, we need a small group for this new couple. Liz is part of the church staff. And we're like, oh, we'll take them. And I was the youngest guy in our small group at the time. Yeah. And so Austin and I just hung out and just hit it off. Like, very entrepreneurial, very like sports guys. Yeah. And he was like, hey, how did you house hack your house? Like, how did you buy this house? Like, what are you doing? Because, everybody else I know is like either trying to buy a single family house or they're renting or like they don't have the money. And I was like, dude, it like costs like, I think it was like $12,000 total, like buy this house. Yeah. And he's like, what? I was like, yeah. So I ended up helping him get his first house hack. And then we kind of started to like slowly do stuff on the side and like try to buy properties together.
Right. Okay. With like wholesaling or fixing and flipping?
No, we were like just trying to buy them and like.
So just using your W-2 income to save it up and then just use that together, buy more. Okay. Very traditional style.
Yeah, like we were pretty dumb. Like we didn't really know.
But that's wholesale. The best way to get into it. Just go full force and figure it out as you go, honestly.
At that point, you're not trying to find like the best deal in the world. Like you don't have to meet certain requirements to do like a burst strategy or something else of the nature. Like making sure that appraisal comes in, you're already getting the loan off the rip. So it's like super easy where you can just throw a tenant in there and you start to realize what it's like being a landlord.
Absolutely.
So how was your experience with that? Like initially,
being a landlord?
Initially, yeah.
I didn't have an issue with it. Like, because I lived in the property, like when you house hack, a lot of people say like, don't tell them that you're the landlord or have the money sent at other places. I actually like talking to people and enjoy that part of it. And like my dad is very like blue collar, like, 30 years in the drywall industry. And like my grandfather was the same way. So for me, like my peace comes from like, I'll just go mow or like fix something. Like that's relaxing to me. Yeah. And so, like, being a landlord wasn't really that hard. And I think the bar is so low for landlords these days.
It's true. Yeah. You have very high expectations of them.
like
slumlords.
Yeah, like the people that owned it before did nothing. Yeah. So the fact that I, like, talked to my tenants.
You're like, oh, my God, this guy's great.
Yeah. Just talk. And, like, I always buy my tenants, like, those tenants specifically, like, Christmas presents.
Oh, nice.
I know other landlords do that. Like, you guys...
For Mother's Day, we just handed out flowers to all our landlords. So something special.
Well, no, we did we didn't do Christmas.
I don't think so. I think they did like maybe a card or something. Yeah. Nothing like presents.
Did you sign the card? Or you just like it was like an pen.
Just typed it up real quick.
So I get a card from you. It's just like, is that his real signature?
No, I paid for the handwritten letters.
Yeah, because they appreciate that, and they'll treat the property better and stuff like that. But what was like year one starting out with 717 home buyers? Like, how did you grow that and go about it?
Okay, yeah. So we're this is like probably 2017, 2018 at this point.
Okay.
And so Austin and I buy a couple properties, like House Hackham. And I, at the time, I'm in digital marketing. I'm still in digital marketing.
Yeah.
And I had like a lot of experience with agencies.
Yeah.
And so in digital marketing, basically, people hire us to market for your business, your service, to increase your revenue.
Right.
And I'm doing all this marketing for these other companies.
Right.
And I'm like, I know how to do all this stuff. Why am I not like applying it to my
own
lifestyle?
business.
Yeah, my investments. Because I'm like making all this money W-2.
Right.
And then I'm trying to go buy retail.
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing? Like, I'm kind of an idiot. So I was like, hey, Austin, if I set up a website and I'll front the PPC money, I'll front all the ad spend, like, who do we have that can answer the phone and take these incoming leads?
Yeah.
And this is before, like, this has gotten a lot more popular now. So
Yeah.
he's like, oh, my buddy Josh Netz is a realtor. Like, and he's actually pretty good at this. I was like, all right, sounds good.
Yeah.
And so at the time, like,
Just go with it.
yeah, like, well, it's like a couple $1,000s, because I don't have to like pay anything to set the website. I build it myself.
Right.
And so Austin's working at W-2 at One Life, which is a nonprofit.
Okay.
I'm working like at the agency, building the company, whatever.
Yeah.
And so we start turning on like Google ads. And I think it was like the second day we get a lead. It was on South Queen Street in Lancaster.
Okay.
And Josh was really good at answering the phone, great realtor. He's like, hey, I think we can buy this for $38,000 in cash. And I think we're just relist it and, for a lot more.
Right.
I'm like, okay, so like Josh, you bring half, I'll bring half, and then we'll clean it out. Sounds like a cool deal.
Yeah.
Let's just do it. Like, I've never been in the property. I don't even know anything about this thing, right? So
And you didn't think of like private money at the time?
no,
It's just-
frick no. I'm just like, I'm like, I can double my money in like a month.
Yeah.
Like, let's do it. Yeah,
Let's
like
try
just
it.
blindly trusting Josh,
Yeah.
And so we ended up buying the property. Josh like cleaned it out, and then we listed it for like 80. We sold it,
Oh shoot.
and so I made like a bunch of money back.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
quickly. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
So I think I'm like Mark Zuckerberg or some like genius. I'm like, I just doubled my money. Like, this is gonna be the easiest business in the world.
Yeah.
It's not how it is, obviously. But that was the start of 717. And then over time, as we got more deal flow in, and Austin kind of learned the ropes a little bit about because we didn't know what wholesaling was.
Yeah.
All that stuff. We started to become like, Austin quit his job and then he went full time. And then, my time got freed up from the other ventures, and like I kind of went more into it.
Yeah.
We built a team out, but I mean, it was not like a cold turkey start. It was like a
That's what it
very
sounds like. You're
slow-
like just a very natural, like,
Building that
let's try
momentum.
this real quick.
Yeah.
It worked. Hey, let's add this guy in here. Oh, he brought this. Let's try that. That worked.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, I mean, if you can,
pretty easy.
Yeah, and in any business, if like you can figure out how to spend $1 and make $1 plus back, you can work on your marketing, your systems, and things. But you can like prove the viability of the business.
Right.
And so once we did that, I was like, the only thing holding us back now is like time and money
Right.
to put in the front end,
Yeah.
and then knowledge,
Yeah.
right? And that's kind of where we got our first flip from. I know you guys, I ever told you the story of how our first flip burned
Wait,
down.
with the fire? Yeah.
Yeah,
At our meetup. Yeah.
So we started. This is kind of a natural process every year. Like Josh kind of like phases out. Austin ends up, being the acquisition guy, quits his job, and so Austin's like, "Dude, we gotta start flipping," because we're just like wholesaling stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, "Okay, sounds great." Like
Yeah.
many people flip. Like shouldn't be that hard, right? So we make a couple crucial mistakes. We don't mow the lawn for like 6 months.
Oh shoot.
There's actually a TikTok of Austin, and you can look up on his profile. So it's a video of him holding his phone up. I'm in the background, like weed whacking these like giant weeds down.
Yeah.
And we found a kitty, like a little kitten,
No
Oh,
way.
no way.
and that's when we went viral.
Oh shoot.
Because
I
everyone's
gotta
like, "You
see
saved
that.
the cat." Yeah. I'll send it in.
Life could be a dream. Life could be a dream.
But we didn't mow the lawn. We used a contractor that was like a friend that had like a lawn care business, but it was also contracting, so it
Yeah.
was cheap.
A little iffy.
Yeah, it was really iffy, and the scope of work was like terrible, like all the classic, just like we didn't know what the heck we were doing, and so we're like 80% of the way through.
Okay.
And I get this call, and it's like, hey, the building's on fire. Like, what are you talking about, dude? The building's not on fire. Yeah. No, like, there's 3 fire trucks at our building right now. And I'm like, you serious? So 136 North Broad Street, you can look up the fire, like, records or whatever. Yeah. Completely, the kitchen just caught on fire. Everything went up.
Electrical fire?
So they said we don't know who did it, but, like, we think there's the contractor, the guy he had there, like, he had put some stuff down on the floor the night before. Well, the rags were still coated with it, and that's very flammable on that when you finish a floor. Yeah. And they said that there was either a spark on, like, one of the electrical equipment tools that were plugged in, and that caught it on fire. Damn. Or, like, maybe I think he accidentally smoking there. Who knows? Because the fire extinguisher was extinguished. So I get there, life is tough, business is tough. Fortunately, I've been through some other business things. And I'm just, like, kind of in shock. Like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Was this your own money then? Going into this flip?
Yeah, so we used private money on this.
Oh, private money, okay.
So we used some hard money from Dave Wolf.
Yeah.
Great lender.
Yeah,
that's what we use.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I have like a $1,300, whatever it was, a lot of money, payment a month.
Right.
And I'm like, the interest payments. I'm like, this is supposed to be done in like 2 weeks, listed on the market. It's like late November, which is the worst time to list a flip. The house is burned up. The insurance adjuster can't get there for like 2 weeks.
Jesus.
And at that time, we were going into COVID. Like, that's right before COVID went off.
Yeah.
And so you have all these things adding up. And then the insurance adjuster gets there and he says, well, based on your coverage, you don't have like code upgrade coverage. So I learned something very valuable about insurance. So when you are insuring a vacant property, if you have an issue with the property later where they condemn it or they come through and the code office says, well, you need to bring everything up to code, right? So if it gets condemned, you have to bring it up to code. Well, a lot of these older houses that you're going to flip, Lancaster, Yorks, Harrisburg, whatever, they were built in the early 1900s.
Yeah. Right.
That stuff's not up to code. No, there's no freaking way, right? Yeah. So, we're 15 grand over then at that point that I have to put in, flu, electrical upgrades, whatever it is. Like, insurance doesn't cover this.
Yeah. Right.
And then we go into COVID. Nobody can do anything during COVID. Nobody wants to do anything during COVID. So it actually took another 10 months to get that property sold.
10 months.
$30,000 loss.
Jeez.
Which, I just
paid. Yeah, you just kind of got to eat that one.
Yeah, sucked.
Were you like, we're never doing flips again after that?
In my mind, I think we really didn't for a while. Like, we kind of pulled back. But luckily, God provides, and I truly believe that. So we did a project in Williamsport, PA. Okay. At the same
like 2
time.
2 hours away.
Yeah, we had a friend up there, a really good guy.
Okay.
And he helped us like renovate a duplex.
Okay.
And we literally sold that for like $32,000 profit.
Oh, no so you just like perfectly covered your loss.
Yeah, so it was like this crazy God moment where like you have a $30,000 loss. I'm like, dude, I'm never flipping real estate again. And all of a sudden I'm like, we just made a lot of money.
Oh, trust me. We know the God moments.
We've been saved a lot. a lot.
But no, that's awesome.
So touching back, I want to go back. You said you had some other business ventures before the real estate stuff?
Yeah.
What'd that consist of? Like just SMMA kind of stuff?
Yeah. So when I first got out of school, luckily was in a really cool company.
Yeah.
We were like a top 10 Facebook publisher on the internet. And this is like, if you ever watched the movie, what's it called? It's the one with about Facebook, Social Dilemma. And so I was part of a company and they drove a lot of traffic off their Facebook pages.
Gotcha.
And so part of that was me and my buddies who worked there ended up starting our own side companies. That was kind of my first like real entrepreneurship venture.
It's like some Iman Gotzi stuff.
Do you know Iman?
No, I don't really know. No,
he's just a YouTuber guy. Yeah. He started out with like doing like the social media marketing agencies, kind of similar to what you're talking about. And then obviously any of the clientele it was like B2B marketing. And then any of that clientele, he would actually just hire freelancers from like Upwork or Fiverr or something of the sort, and then make profit, obviously. But he's grown like over the past like 2-3 years. He went from nothing to $100 million per year.
Wow.
Insane.
It's insane. Yeah.
So we weren't doing that. I mean, I'm not. But you guys going to go to the Bahamas or what do you want to go next?
I fucking wish. No, that's something I wanted to get into, but I'm like such a non-tech savvy person, like complete opposite. Like I cannot work a computer for my life, make a post.
But you can do sales.
I can talk to people.
Yeah.
Talking's easy. I like that part.
Yeah. So there's different components. There's different areas. I think, if you're good at sales, you don't have to necessarily sell real estate.
Yeah.
If you're really good at sales, you can sell a lot of different things.
Yeah, it can be absolutely anything.
It's a skill you can take across industries. So on the digital end, we were monetizing Facebook pages, helping people monetize their websites.
Okay.
That was a great foray. I ended up getting bought out by my partners, which was kind of cool.
Can you monetize our podcast?
Yeah, we can work on it. Yeah, I know some people. That was a really cool experience, and it worked out well. And I'm still good friends with those guys.
Nice.
And then I was able to kind of through my next positions, I was able to always have a side thing, just do consulting or whatever on the side, extra money. Yeah. And when you're young, you want to grind.
You have the energy to do it, so it's why not?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So what's your marketing? Is it just the Google ads, or have you dabbled into Facebook, cold calling, texting? Like what's all your marketing? Yeah.
So if we were to offer services today, through a marketing agreement type, we really specialize in digital marketing. So that would be more of the Google, Facebook, the world. We really specialize more in the paid side, and then what we call search engine optimization.
Yeah.
But realistically, marketing today has changed so much. It's really, it used to be I'm going to generate you leads, and then it's your problem if people don't close, right? It's your problem, if nobody picks up the phone, you're just really bad at follow up. But it's really shifted, and my philosophy is that marketing's job is from first contact, and that could be content, that could be an actual phone call, it could be any kind of content through sale closing. There's multiple things that marketing affects, and the way that you position customers, potential customers, really affects your success rate when you have salespeople, when you have products to sell. If you're able to position those customers well before they even get to your internal team, your salesperson, your salespeople are going to sell at a much higher rate. Everyone's going to be much more happier. The customer is going to be happier because they know what to expect.
Right. Gotcha. Or what would that look like tactically, to get them to a better point?
So what that looks like is really on the front end, kind of break it down to 3 points. So on the front end, you want to have what I call a really good offer or hook.
Yeah.
And so offer hooks could be as simple as, a free appointment or a giveaway or some kind of value.
Free trial,
right? So companies give away accessories, or they give away we'll give you an extra $1,500 if we sign a contract, right? That's what I use in.
And then they add their sense of urgency by adding that stopwatch in there. And
counting down. Only for 5 more minutes.
Do I do it?
If you don't accept, you will die. I'm just kidding.
Your phone won't blow up.
Yeah.
All right. You win.
Yeah. But you have a good offer, right? And an offer can be a lot of different things, but I think you really want to get a good offer. What a lot of times is I survey the customers I have had, and I say, what do you really care about in this product? Because a lot of times they're not really buying the product; they're buying the result of the product.
Yeah.
Right. So when we buy a house from somebody, when you guys buy a house from somebody, right, in a traditional wholesale or any kind of transaction, oftentimes you're not just buying the house because they want the price you're giving them. You're solving a problem.
Yeah, there's something else that goes along with it or goes hand in hand, or else everybody would just sell it on market.
Exactly. So I'll just go listen to the realtor, but hey, I have this specific problem that you guys help me solve. So figuring out what people actually care about can really feed your offer and hooks. And so when you make an offer and hook on the front end, then you drive them to your website, your landing page, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Maybe that's even a conversation with you, but that conversation needs to reinforce the hook. And I always ask about if you see an ad and you click on it and then you get to the website and you're like, this isn't what I clicked on, or why are they asking for this?
Yeah.
That's the disconnect I think a lot of brands have is they run an ad. They're like, hey, sell your house to us for cash. And then you get to the landing page and they're like, well, we only help people in certain circumstances. Or, hey, we can only list your property for you.
Or we're only in this location.
Only in this location, right? We can only service Pennsylvania. Well, then why are you running ads in Maryland?
Exactly.
You're just wasting money.
You're wasting money and time. And
PPC's not cheap.
Oh, no. Yeah.
It's expensive.
And customers have a 3-second attention span these days.
Right.
Exactly. Damn TikTok.
That's crazy. Yeah, TikTok's even worse. It's like crack. So your landing page, whatever your offer, you have your offer, you have your first engagement, your website, your landing page, and then whatever you ask them to do out of that, like usually it's a form fill, or some kind of engagement. When you then get in touch with them, having like reinforcing your offer with languaging or what they see on the landing page, like on your landing page, if you are going with an approach of like we're super approachable, like we're really nice people, or maybe we're young, like we want to listen to you. Don't get on the sales call and be like, yo, I'll give you $70,000 like today, and just hang, or else we're not doing this deal, like
Exactly,
So how you position all of that
Okay.
to the end conversation is super important.
Gotcha. So it's really coming down, if you want to work it backwards, it's like you're actually just training your salespeople to be aligned with what the process of the client is already going through. So it's just making sure that they're going hand in hand versus being completely dysfunctional on this side and already having some agenda coming in from the client what they're expecting and just not meeting those expectations. Okay.
100%. And I think that's what like a lot of people will say, like, well, a great salesperson can save the deal. And that is, there's some truth to that. But I would rather say my system and operating processes is so good, I can put any salesperson there and we're going to close the deal.
Gotcha.
That's
So
strong.
do you
right
still
there.
do this for other companies as well to this day?
Yep. So I do some fractional CMO work, and then we offer some services for investors. So we do, right now, we have a bunch of investors around the nation in different markets.
Yeah.
I really only take one per market.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Can't help you guys
That's
because you're in my
smart.
market.
No,
but-
it's okay. Don't worry
I
about
was
it.
thinking about that. I was like, how do you like manage if you have people in the market? So do you have anyone in Harrisburg?
Well, Harrisburg is technically us. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you
Central
do
PA.
Central PA, yeah.
Gotcha.
So big DMA area. So like Central PA would be one. Like Eastern PA might be a different one.
Yeah.
Poconos.
Yeah.
Western PA.
Kind of break it into different sections.
Yeah. And I was going to say, what's your thoughts on carrot.com? Because every investor, I mean, we use it too, just for the website. We have gotten leads from it. We don't
Recently,
even
our SEO just started picking up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
We don't know why.
So curious on what your thoughts are with that. Yeah. We haven't changed anything. So
Yeah, so I use Carrot too. I've started on Carrot years ago.
Oh, okay.
And Trevor is in our Investor Fuel. He's in the membership. So Carrot's great. Carrot gets you like 80-90% of the way out of the box. I think the pros of Carrot are if you don't necessarily know where to start, it's amazing to get you started. The downsides of it is that a lot of people use it now. So a lot of investors use it. I'd say about 80% of the people that come in our door, like looking for services or investors, use it.
right.
The downside of that is that you have a lot of websites that look very similar. People don't do the work to make their website unique to their own brand. And so, if you're thinking about a motivated seller, when they are typing in like sell my house fast, Cumberland County, right?
Yeah.
There might be 20 people an entire year that type that in.
Oh yeah.
Right.
But if they look at their search results, they open 3 or 4 websites because we know that these people do that. Like I have the data on that. Like oftentimes when we get inbound leads, like there will be other people that are competing.
Right.
If your website looks exactly like everybody else's, why are they going to choose you?
That's true.
Like then you have to win on the sales end.
I was going to say that, yeah, because then it comes down to who you're actually talking to.
It comes down to who you're talking to, right?
Gotcha. So if you can win on the front end, then you don't have to worry about the back end.
Right.
Well, a little bit.
You have to. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Just hire an AI sales guy.
There you go. Those texting bots.
So it comes down to you're all of that you've spent the money, you've taken the time to set this website up, but it all comes down to like that sales conversation. And
Right.
as much as you can take the variables out of that and set yourself to win beforehand, you've already won the game versus 90% of your competition.
Okay. So what are some things that you would implement into that front end to really set yourself apart?
Show your face on Carrot. I tell my investor clients and friends all the time, like, if you're going to buy real estate properties, it's like this kind of like weird thing where it's like black hat, where it's like, oh, I wholesale, but like you go to their website, there's no address, no face, nothing. And I'm like, this is why the realtors and people dislike us. Like, this is why, because it seems shady.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be in the game, like if you're going to do anything in the game, show your face. Showing your face also builds credibility.
Yeah.
I feel like it's also makes the client feel more comfortable whenever it comes time for the appointment. Hopefully you get to that part and they see the person from the website actually walking to their front door. You're like, oh shit. Okay. Like this is real. Like he is the owner of that company or at least works for that company.
Right.
It's not like fake pictures, fake people, that kind of stuff.
like, how do you buy anything like these days? Like, how do you guys buy things? You buy things from people that you know, like, and trust.
Right.
Yeah. Sure.
If you can't, like, when's the last time you scheduled an appointment for someone to come to your house that you didn't know what they were gonna look like?
Never.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
No,
Yeah.
never.
Yeah.
Unless it's
Right.
like Girl Scout cookies. It's like, okay, I know your brand.
You schedule appointments for that?
Yeah, totally.
He's like, hey, local Girl Scouts, please come down to my house. I need a cookie order. They have order forms, you know.
Nah.
No, it's too much
They
work.
sell us out of Giant. I'm like, nah, next time.
If you want my order, you got to come to my house.
Exactly.
Now, what's your, like, how did you start building the team then?
Yeah, great question. So for a long time, like Austin was full time in it, and I obviously had other stuff going on, and so we kind of divided responsibilities. And I told Austin, I said, my goal, because I'm the marketing guy, my goal is to give you so many leads that you are like literally can't handle them.
Yeah.
When you're at a breaking point, we're going to hire somebody, and the first person we're hiring is acquisitions.
Yeah.
And so we literally just did that, and then we're like, we need an acquisitions person, and I think that process, like hiring an acquisitions person, failing at it, failing again at it, and then finally nailing like somebody down that's good, helped us to like hire the other elements of the team.
Okay.
Because once we had the acquisitions person, then we were like, hey, we know what expectations is set enough. We understand what company culture we want.
Yeah.
Now we want to get a lot more flipping, so we need to have a project manager, right? Because we are literally paying, other people to do this. We can bring it in house; it'll be cheaper.
Right.
So we started to build out, our basically in-house project manager division, and then we started to look at the company and say, like, what are the core focuses outside of marketing, sales, and then production? Well, their disposition is also a big factor.
Yeah.
Are we good at that, or do we want to have that internal, or do we want to work with other partners in order to get that done?
Okay.
And we decided to go, like, some people call us crazy, but we decided to go with partners.
Yeah.
Because we just did not like doing that part of the business.
Yeah.
What was kind of like, obviously your strong suit coming into the company was marketing already. Did Austin have one per se, or did he kind of build it over time?
I think I'm going to edify Austin. Austin is a very good people person.
Okay. So sales.
So he's naturally salesperson.
Okay.
He's also a natural leader among the team. So I think for him and anybody in building a company, like, you're not going to know what to do necessarily.
Right.
Like, there's no entrepreneurship classes. Like,
Right.
you can't go to school for that.
Well, actually you can now, which is really weird. I just found this out too. Like they have like.
They do in college, but
Yeah.
it's crazy because the professor may not even be an entrepreneur.
That's what I'm thinking too. It's
Yeah.
like, how do you gotta teach something that you've never done in your life?
That's the thing.
Doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
Just a waste of money.
So, yeah, you can go to school. Okay, you can go to school for it, but yeah.
But a waste of money,
Yeah, don't get me started on college stuff.
YouTube University.
You graduated, right?
Yeah,
Yesterday?
I have
Okay.
I have a political science degree.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
there you go.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Running for president later on?
No.
There you go.
Heck no.
Damn it.
Yeah, president of Landisville. That's it.
Now, how do you keep that good culture within your company, keeping the employees just staying and not leaving? Or have you ever had any problems with like employees and stuff like that?
Yeah, so fortunately, like 717 is kind of a cool creation. It's a little different than other companies I've been part of structurally.
Yeah.
We have like a vision of what we wanted the company to be. And fortunately for like Austin and I, we have a very aligned vision about where like we want the company to go.
Right.
And so we said early on, like when we bring people on, like we want to have some shared values with them. And so that like we enjoy working with these people. And I always tell Austin, I'm like, I tell Austin, I'm like, listen, if the real estate market crashes tomorrow, if interest rates are 50%, if like nobody can do any transactions in the state of Pennsylvania because we become communist and whatever, the NAR gets their way. Like, let's just go sell fidget spinners. Like, I enjoy working with you, right? Like, I enjoy being in business with Austin.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's what we started to hire people that had that same vision. Like you joked about golf, I think earlier we were playing, and Austin is like way better than me. But like we want people that can work really freaking hard and work towards something and make a lot of money, but then also enjoy like, let's go golfing once a week.
Right.
Like that's our company culture.
Yeah.
And if you vibe with that and you fit in there, awesome. And if it's not going to be a fit, like we'll find that out early and we'll just say it's not the best fit, and that's fine.
Oh, that's awesome. So I guess we got to start golfing.
Yeah, I'm going on Sunday. I'm excited. One question I did have, I was trying to think of today, like what I wanted to really ask you. And I know, well, the first time, I'll say the first time I actually had ever met you was one at Zach's meetups when you were the one giving the presentation that day. And your main focus was really just on all like the analytics and metrics of your company. I was going to ask you, like, what are some of the top like metrics, key performance indicators like that you really track and you think means more than others within the business of real estate?
Yeah, I think that's a general business question.
It is.
But like real
yeah.
estate specific, yeah. So I talk about, at Zach's thing, I talked about 3 main metrics that every business needs. So you need a lead, some kind of lead.
Right.
You need some kind of like appointment or some kind of like point of like customer engagement. And then you need a sale, right? So there's like the 3 main things I always look at. It's like leads, appointments, and contract or sale.
Closing.
Right.
Yeah.
And so everything derives off of those.
Okay.
If you guys ever read like Good to Great or like the E-Myth Revisited, like, you know, some people call them rocks, some people call them like KPIs.
Yep.
But basically in real estate, you know, when you're getting started, whether you're an agent, you're a wholesaler, fix and flip, whatever you are, and this is something that like to build a company with, you have to understand is that you always have to have leads and opportunities coming in the front end, especially with real estate, because you guys know it can be like a roller coaster sometimes.
Oh my God, yeah. There's
Like-
times we'll have like 6 deals going on at once. There's other times where it's like maybe 1 in the pipeline. We're like, all right, what's going on?
Yeah, it's like crickets, and you're like, okay, who's going to cold call first?
Literally.
Somebody please respond to a mailer, please. So you always have to focus on like, I talk about leads first in a lot of businesses, because if you don't have the lead flow, whether that's organic, whether that's earned, whether that's paid,
You can't even have the back.
you can't have the back. Yeah. So like figuring the lead flow out is the first thing. So what I track, and I did this for like probably the first 2 or 3 years of the company on a spreadsheet every week. It was like the most disciplined thing I ever done in my life.
Yeah.
I would literally track how many leads we got at our CRM and where they came from.
Yeah.
And then the second part was I would track appointments, right? So, you know, whether in your real estate, you know, when you're trying to acquire properties, it's really about just getting in front of people and talking to them. So appointments is the second thing that, you know, we always track. If you want to go deeper than those, you know, the 3 I talked about, when the front end, we talk about leads, we talk about quality conversations. That's something that I have Noah track on my team.
Right.
On the acquisitions end. So you have your leads, and some people call like marketing qualified leads, or quality conversations.
Where it's not just like a simple contact where, yes, I talked to the person, but they weren't interested in any kind of way.
Right. My VA cold caller said this person wants to sell their house for $200,000 and it's $500,000. And we get them on the phone. They're like, go smoke crack and you're crazy. But
Exactly.
So quality conversations are super important, because that tells me like, okay, is my marketing on point?
Yeah.
Am I giving my acquisitions team, my internal team, enough leads in the door for them to actually be successful at their job?
Yeah.
Is there a length of time that makes it a qualified conversation?
I would
go
say,
based off of?
I would say you could probably know within the first like 7 days for a lot of stuff, especially if you have your team trained to like really turn that stuff over.
Yeah.
If you're doing like more of the traditional marketing routes, and we do these too, where you're like cold calling or texting, those are going to take a lot longer to generate. But once they turn into a quality conversation, we count it at that moment.
Okay. Gotcha.
And that's really as a business owner, because like I've seen so many businesses in real estate in general where it's like, hey, we're spending money on marketing, but you know the salespeople suck because they can't close. Well, it's like you're spending money on really crappy marketing.
Yeah. You're setting them up for failure.
You get the best salesperson, but they're getting these really crappy leads, like, and you're wasting their time with those.
Right.
You want your top guys, people or girls, you want your top people, whoever your closer is, in your company, to be focused on the best leads.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So where does your company kind of look like? What does it look like now? Like what kind of, are you still doing wholesaling? Are you mainly on the flipping side? Are you doing rental properties? Like where do you stand?
Yeah, I think we've shifted more into contracts lately, which may be crazy to some people, but
that is, especially with the new laws that are coming up.
Yeah.
Have you heard about that? Like looked into it at all?
Yeah, I looked into that. We can get into that, but the contract side, we found in the last year. So we didn't flip a ton. And when we started, and then we kind of did like, I would say 5 to 10 a year for a little bit, And then we were like, hey, we want to be a massive flipping company. So we're going to do like 25 to 30
Oh, wow.
last year. And we did it.
That's awesome. Good job.
But it took a lot
I bet.
out of us. And you don't realize too, like when you flip a lot, and there's a reason people are flippers or not flippers, the cash flow cycle when you're doing that many flips is brutal. Very brutal.
Yeah.
So we decided, we looked at it and we had some staff personnel changes, and Austin and I were like, what if we just spent more money on what we're good at, maybe sign better deals, and probably would make close to as much money with less headache and less risk.
Right.
And for us, that was like being better at the contract side. So we do a lot of stuff where we will either wholesale stuff or we are like quasi act for other like flipper buyers as a marketing team. We still are flipping. We still acquire some rentals.
Yeah.
Austin and I buy them personally. But I think we've shifted away from more of the heavy flips, especially with like where interest rates are and the economy is with people. And we're just kind of focused on doing what we're best at, which is sales and marketing.
Gotcha. Do you have any big goals for contracts this year? Like a number in mind you're hoping to reach?
75. I think is what we're going
75
for.
That's really good.
That is really good.
Yeah.
Nice. And how big is your team now?
So we actually scaled down. It's kind of crazy.
Okay.
So right now it is Austin, me. We have an acquisition lead, Noah, who's great. And then you guys both know him.
Yeah.
We have a second acquisition guy, Matt. I don't think you've met him yet.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, no.
Super young guy, he's a realtor, cool guy. And then we have a project manager, Joel, who works with us. So we're a smaller team, but it's really nice. Like I said, the dispo end, we kind of work with some people on that end.
Yeah.
And are all those leads coming from just Facebook and Google?
Yeah, we're mostly inbound now.
Really?
We stopped.
That's awesome.
We stopped texting because I was tired of compliance.
We stopped too. Yeah.
Yep.
Nothing like getting like Twilio like emails like you are violating 17 rules.
You might get sued.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Stop texting. I mean, we really haven't cold called for a while. I'm interested to see how that goes just because that's kind of top of funnel.
Yeah.
But we had a great random cold calling, and I just did the numbers like you talk about being a data guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's generating a lot of leads, but we're just wasting so much time because, you'd be spending we're spending $3-4 a month on cold calling. And I did the numbers and I'm like, wow, we got like 4 or 5 deals last year from that. And it's like the numbers don't really back out. Whereas, Google or Facebook or SEO just really kills it.
Yeah. You notice that you're closing like a lot more of your inbound versus outbound leads?
Yeah, always. Historically, we've been like 1 in 7 inbound.
Yeah.
Really?
In market. Yeah.
Okay. Do you know your outbound numbers for that?
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's
like
like
probably
1
1 in 100. Yeah.
100, yeah.
Are you able to say like your monthly expenses and then what your company typically takes home monthly?
Yeah. I can generally say that. Don't hold me to this, Austin. Financial audits. Getting at the IRS is going to show I'm like, hey, we want some of that money, buddy.
So we got them waiting over there.
Yeah. We spend about $10,000 to $12,000 a month in marketing. Okay. That's top line. And then, we'll on like a lower month, I think we're roughly about $1 million this year is what we'll be at. I think about gross revenue. Really but like you said, you got like there's a lot of factors. Like people look at that and go, oh yeah, like that's great. Mm-hmm. But you got a lot of factors into other things to it.
Employees,
so,
all that stuff.
Do you pay yourself like a W-2?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
So.
How do you decide that? Between you and Austin?
Yeah, we have a system we follow.
Percentages and stuff like that? Okay. Yeah, that's what Stefanie and I do too.
Yeah. Now, what's your favorite platform between like, let's say Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok? You have like a favorite?
I love SEO just because it's one of the things in life where there's no instant gratification to it. That's why I think a lot of business owners, like a lot of investors, don't do it.
Yeah.
This is why I talk about it at the meetups because the meetups, like most people aren't going to do anything about it.
You can say whatever you want.
Whatever. So it's like one of those things where you're like, and I sell this too, and I'm like, listen, this is going to take 6 months and minimum, and it may not work, but I think this is what's going to work.
Yeah.
But if you are in this position, this is what it could do for your business.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those things like where you have to work for anything to earn it. Like when you work for it, we were talking about running earlier.
Right.
Like if you're training for something and you've worked for it, the end result is so much sweeter than if you're just like, hey, I paid Google and I got a lead. Like, that's great. I'll take that.
Good job,
guy. Yeah. But it's like, it's infinitely harder to do. Gotcha. So Google itself, I would say, is my
Okay.
favorite.
And you actually like sell packages where you're going to different companies and kind of giving your sales pitch of like, hey, I can get you this many leads in this period of time by doing this for this price.
We never guarantee leads.
Never guarantee. Okay.
Yeah. And so what we do is we say, hey, listen, I'm in this business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously we've made some money. We're going to be in this business,
Yeah.
which is a hobby. And so I was like, hey, listen, this works in South Central Pennsylvania. These core principles have worked for me. I'm constantly developing these. You guys have seen our ads. I'm constantly doing different things. So I know it works for me. So I think it's going to work for you and your business and your market. And here's a package in order to help get you there.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so the whole package is designed to really like help investors basically cover the cost in the first 6 months of the program. And then within the first year, you know, they're making profit on their investments.
Okay.
Knowing that in year 2, if you're doing SEO, if you're doing paid, that's when you start really making the money.
And then is your package like a subscription where they're paying monthly for, or yeah?
It's a recurring monthly bill.
Okay, perfect.
That's perfect.
That is because I didn't know if it was just like a one-time upfront payment. Then nice, but kind of sucks at the same time. But if it's subscription, that's awesome.
And there's work too, you know, like
Yeah.
people online, a lot of people, because you watch YouTube or, you know, you go online and I think you guys know, you did drop shipping, right?
Yeah.
She did.
So you're like, it's not just like, oh, pay $20,000, I'm gonna have this miraculous drop shipping store. Like you have to put in work.
You have to. That's why I love Facebook ads, but and like split testing, like that's the best thing. So I was curious if you can say, like between your videos of like house tours or the testimonials or other videos you guys do, because I see them on my feed all the time. Like, what would you say performs the best between those?
Do we have an NDA on that? I'm just kidding. It's on our public bio. So
Cover up the mics.
this is great. I'm giving all the secrets
All
away
the
to man.
songs.
I hope everybody listens to this. So
And this is towards the end of the video, so some people may cut off. So
they're
missing
missing
out.
out.
They're
They're missing out on
long.
the gold. They're missing out on
Yeah.
the gold. They're bored with all of our other talk.
no. But this
We
is
didn't even
good.
get to the golf yet. Come on.
Nobody wants that. Trust me.
Probably not.
So I'll tell you this. Anytime that you can have a customer sell your product for you to another customer is going to be the most impactful
Referrals.
thing you can ever do.
Right.
So referrals are like, you know, they're like the walk in the park, easy
Just
cake,
Free leads.
take my money type of lead, right? So when you see our videos,
Yeah.
the ones that usually work the best are the ones that are testimonial driven,
Right.
where you are demonstrating relevancy, you're demonstrating expertise, you're demonstrating trustworthiness,
Yeah.
and you're demonstrating that you are actually a person that can buy houses, that's at a title company, that's with a real life person that actually sold their house to you.
Yeah.
Those work the best. I mean, I've had,
We definitely gotta do more of that.
yeah,
We slack
Yeah,
there.
we do slack.
We got a couple pictures with some families, but not enough.
I hate when like, it's a little tired, but like I hate when, you know, I had some investor friends use some companies and they use like those lead gen forms where it's like, sell us your house. And it's just like a generic picture of a house and like we buy houses and like some
Right.
stock image.
Yeah.
And I'm like, stop being lazy with your marketing. Like
Yeah.
this
Like, you're
is,
spending money on it. Make it worthwhile, right?
and this is your impression to a customer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how would you feel if you saw this? Just throw yourself in their shoes, right?
Right. And you're probably going to get crappy leads. You're probably going to get not a great customer experience coming through.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to literally fill that form out. You're going to call them and be like, who the heck are you? You know, like
I would.
if you're on camera and your face is there and you're willing to say, hey, I buy properties, I'm trustworthy, here's my process, then when you show up for the appointment, it's a piece of cake. Like, not to disclaim sales, but it's a lot easier,
True. Easier.
to break down barriers.
Yeah. All you have to focus on is building that relationship at that point. That's usually pretty easy.
Now, going back to the new laws, they're not fully set in place. I think, I don't know, they still have something else to pass. But, like, what's your thoughts on that? Like, how are you guys going to, you know, start adapting with all this coming into place in the state of PA for those watching?
It's a great question. I hope the NRA is listening to this. So. I'm not a licensed realtor. I've never been one. So
Well, for the wholesaling side of
Yeah.
things of...
Might have to be
exactly.
soon.
Yeah, I know exactly. So
Yeah.
I probably can't speak to the realtor side. I love my realtor friends. I love, you know, licensed friends. I think the NAR ruling is actually good if you're an established business.
Yeah.
We have licensed agents already on our team.
And just so the viewers know, they're basically saying you need a license to wholesale. And then there's also other stuff where,
And this
like,
is just Pennsylvania.
yeah, just PA. There's this other thing where you can go under contract with the seller, but then they have 30 days to back out for no apparent reason. So that's where, like, they could, a buyer could backdoor you, or they could, the seller could go with another wholesaler. So the contract is basically useless.
Yeah, it's not really binding anything at that point.
Yeah.
Yes and no. It's not useless if it's direct to the buyer. So if you're wholesaling and you're assigning it, yes, there's a possibility of that. Now, I would argue that, it's probably just bad business practice to backdoor people.
Yeah.
I mean, there's shady players already that try to do that now.
Right.
But I think if you build enough good rapport with the seller, like that's not going to happen. Most of these people are in a situation they probably need to sell anyways. If they're signing a contract with you getting them sold, the house sold in 7, 14, 30 days is going to be their best option. Because if they decide not to fulfill that contract with you, then they're resetting the clock.
Yeah.
Right. And then if they do it to one person, they might do it to the next
Keep
person.
going.
Yeah.
So if you're buying direct, this is why I'm not as concerned. We do buy properties direct. Obviously, we have the cash in that capacity. And if my interpretation is if the contract is with you directly, you don't they cannot back out, or they cannot, like someone can't backdoor you. If you're assigning it, that's where it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
There's also a clause in there about it's either a reasonable profit or a reasonable compensation for activities.
Yeah.
That's where I think it's going to get interesting with companies, because a lot of businesses, I'm not saying this is a bad thing, a lot of businesses have moved maybe towards an innovation strategy that allows them to maximize profit per deal. And this is where I think this ruling is really aimed at. It's not aimed at the person that's making $10,000 on a wholesale, to be honest.
Yeah.
It is aimed at more of the innovation strategy of, hey, I can novate this house for $250. I'm not doing anything to it. I'm actually not really even taking equitable interest in the property. And then I'm going to go sell it to a different buyer for $350 and then replace an existing contract. And I think that's really what the NAR is going after, the Real Association, with this law, because they're saying you need to be a licensed real estate agent, and because you're a licensed agent, you should act in the best interest of that seller, and you should have listed that property for them.
Right.
So I think if you are doing deals like that with higher spreads, that's where you're going to see some pushback potentially in the future from
Which is
title
understandable.
companies. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, because there's a lot of companies where they might come up across an owner who, sure, they might be a little bit desperate, but their property's worth, far more than what they're even saying, and they're just going to go through, list it, and make $100,000 on a $200,000 house. The homeowner kind of gets screwed just because they didn't have a good understanding of what their property was really worth. So
Yeah, and it's
like
hard.
it's moral
hard.
versus not moral.
And it's also, what's the argument for it's a contract between two consenting adults in the United States, right? It's
true.
Like no one's forcing that seller to sell the property.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, what if they want to sell it for $190?
exactly.
Like, are you going to
And it's
say
like, how are
you
you going to
can't?
determine what a fair compensation is versus the work that you put into it? It's like, are you determining it based off of dollar amount per hour, the total time you spend even acquainted with this property, or like how does that
Hard
work?
to say. It's such a gray area in some
It is.
parts.
It's a gray area. I think there's a lot of noise around it. I don't know if it's going to change that much. Where I think you're going to see change in you guys know Ryan Hess. I mean,
We're actually going to have Brian Zoli
oh,
soon.
okay. So
Yeah.
Brian can speak more. I've probably taken.
Yeah, he's
he knows
coming
way more than I do about this. But so they're kind of ahead of the game on that and kind of giving us a lot of counsel.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
they already
we
started
got the
incorporating the
email.
rules.
Yeah.
Into the title company. Yeah.
So the way I see it as is it's not going to be a huge issue until someone discovers an issue, which will probably come up at title, which is what they're talking about. And that's where I think the enforcement of some of those clauses, some of that kind of feedback, that kind of gray area is going to come into play.
Yeah.
Right.
But I do think it's going to do benefits of, if you're already in the business, it's going to help you, because it does create a barrier to people joining the business, which is not a
Yeah.
great thing.
Yeah.
If you're getting started, I'm sorry. And if you are, looking at it, like we did have a problem during COVID, I will admit, with like a lot of out-of-state wholesalers who have magically disappeared now. But, they would come in, sign contracts. Everybody knew they couldn't fulfill on that contract.
Yeah.
And then they would ghost sellers. And that's not right. And I think that's really
That
what...
just gives our bad name to the business.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, with that being said, like, what are your goals basically with the company for, let's say, the next 5 years?
He's like, man, I didn't even get through this year.
I got 3 kids.
I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow.
Yeah. Listen, if you have 3 kids, your goal is to survive till tomorrow. That's literally it. I think for me, I know Austin probably say this, is to really just like our main goal is to like bless others. And I think that's through like how we train, equipped, and build our team. I think it's like people can do a lot for you in life, but somebody that can teach you how a skill and how to make money, like there's an infinite value in that. And so we find a lot of like, that's like a big goal of ours. Also like spread the word of Jesus, like the gospel of Jesus, like a huge thing for us. So I think for Austin and I, it's like have a good business, but a business that allows us to put those priorities first of like really equipping others, really spreading the word Jesus, and then also like spending time with our families. We both have kids. So there's not like a revenue goal per se, or like I gotta, own 100 rentals or do that. It's just kind of like
a better life.
Yeah, and we've enjoyed it, and everybody's goals are different and like journey's different. But I think sometimes like we rush things because we're not patient.
Delayed gratification.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any? Oh, actually, I have a final question. Since you said you were into books, if you had to pick like a top
3?
2, top 3, top 3 books, what are you going with?
All right, so a book I just read recently, How to Make a Few $billion.
A few billion.
There's a hook
with
for
a
you.
B.
Yeah, there's a hook for you. Not a million, it's a billion. We got inflation. We got inflation going on.
Yeah. Do you know who's it by?
I can't remember. So the guy, I picked it up at the airport. I was at the airport and I was like, I lost my AirPods or something.
Oh yeah.
So like classic, like I'm coming off this like dopamine addiction to like podcasts.
Where's TikTok?
Yeah, I'm like, what am I going to do at the airport now? Oh my gosh, nothing else to do. So I went and got it, the book, and I'm blanking on it, but the person who wrote the book took 5 companies public, which is phenomenal.
That's a big deal.
XPO, which is a huge logistics corporation, United Rentals back in the day, Waste Management. Yeah.
Both my parents, my mom and stepdad, they both worked for United Rentals for like 20 years.
Oh, great.
Small world.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's great book. It's one of those books though, like it's not crazy long. It's like 200 some pages, but they put the font in like how we used to cheat back in the day and put like 16-point font. That's how they did. Yeah.
Easy to read.
Yeah.
So great book. If you want to read a book about business, E-Myth Revisited is phenomenal. Okay. That's really good for KPIs.
Yeah.
Or Good to Great. I think that's Jim Collins.
Like
Good to Great. Awesome book, about how taking a company that's good and like how do you create something great out of it.
Yeah.
If you want to go really down the rabbit hole of understanding Josh, craziness, madness, Atlas Shrugged.
Atlas Shrugged. I never heard
What
of
is that?
one.
It's like 1,200 pages.
Oh, shoot.
Ayn Rand, who's a very controversial figure.
Okay.
But it is a novel, but also it's a little politicized, but it's basically about an entrepreneur who's living in a society that's becoming completely like communist and how, but it's like very long. There's a really crappily done movie on it.
Okay.
But it's like 1,200 pages.
Jeez.
And it's just like a possibility of what could happen.
Yeah, it's a
like-
novel. It's very interesting.
It's like a fictitious, but
Like
plausible.
a whole textbook right there.
Yeah, right. 1,200 pages. Jesus, God.
That was actually, I had a college course. That's all we did it was like an entrepreneurship course. Like, let's read this book and talk about
See,
it.
look, they do. You had an entrepreneur class.
Yeah.
And paid a couple grand for that, but
You just put that in SEO.
Yeah. I had another question though. So like, what's a typical day in the life of Josh?
yeah, that's a great question. I think for me, like I'm always an early to the office guy. So for me, it's like get up early, oftentimes before the kids, the wife, get to the office and really like I found like if you focus on things that move the needle the most in the morning, that's usually
It sets you up
best.
well for the rest of the
exactly.
day.
So
Yeah.
I have some reports and things I like fill out daily. I'm a big spreadsheet guy, as you said.
Yeah.
So I focus on that. And then normally I have, 3 to 4 Zoom calls booked throughout the day. And then the afternoon, I'll normally focus on like one core area of marketing or one core area of the business to really focus deep into.
Okay.
And then, other than that, like I'm really engaging with the team, you know, having conversations with the team, then go home, spend time with the kids. And then, I used to work like crazy at nights and like, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to eat dinner. And then like from 8 to 12, I'm going to grind and do all this stuff. And Now I'm old, so I don't just probably fall asleep.
I'm good. Bedtime.
Well, no, we
right.
truly appreciate you coming on the podcast. Definitely dropped a lot of knowledge. If you guys want to connect with Josh, we'll make sure to leave his information down below. If you guys want him to do your ads for you, as long as you're not in Central PA, he got you.
Well, yeah, if there's an investor in your market, unfortunately, I'm very exclusive. I put it this way. I want to be partners with people.
There you go.
I don't want to be a service provider. So many people just take your money in marketing and they'll sell you guys ads, they'll sell me ads, they'll sell Honest, Integrity. Like everyone will have the same freaking ads. So, what we do is a little different and I want to have a partner in that because I want you obviously to succeed as you talk to me. You talk about me for other people.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, Josh, thanks, sir.
Appreciate you coming on, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.